now I'm dealing with my injury. Welcome back, my friend. I hope you're having a great, beautiful, and blessed day. As usual, let's get straight into it. Now, for those who follow me, they know that I've recently been in a boot with crutches. Yes, I did sprain my ankle. Now, for a little background, what happened was every season, my daughter, who does cheerleading, we have a dad practice where all the dads jump in with the cheerleaders, with our daughters, and we do the practice with them. We do, whatever routine. It's a dad practice. What happened was while we were warming up, it's like a stage. So if you're familiar with like gymnastics, there's a stage with springs. On top of that, they put a mat. The mat was like hanging off. I was running around, and just so happened the place where I stepped, the mat was hanging off. So there was no like stage there. So when I stepped, the mat rolled and my ankle rolled. Brap! So I kind of sprained my ankle. I was down for now it's been about 2 weeks. In that time frame, I was still coaching at UFC Gym Mililani as a kickboxing coach. Still doing what I got to do. I still got my dad duties, but I really dropped back. Now, this video, I'm making it because I just want to give you an insight on how I deal with injuries. This is not the first time I had an injury, especially with my ankle, with my foot. That's how I had all the crutches, the boot, because I fractured both of my ankles at one time. Crazy story, but when it comes to injuries like this, especially with me, you guys see how I do, man. Move and groove, jump in the rope, shadow boxing. I'm always on my feet. I'm always moving. For those who work with me at UFC Gym Mililani, they know I'm very energetic. When I train people, I'm very hands-on. And to be in the background and not be able to demonstrate a move, a kick, a punch, it gets very frustrating. And this time around, this injury really, I can say it did set me back. Very frustrating. At the dad practice, I didn't even get to do the dad practice. We were just running around. There was so much of us that, I kind of was on the edge of the mat. And just so happened, while we were running to warm up, before we even got into the actual warm up, we were just running on the mats and I stepped off and rolled my ankle. So I didn't even get to do that. So much things I kind of missed out on. And one thing I want to let you guys know, this is beyond martial arts, YouTube, kickboxing, boxing, jumping a rope, being a martial artist, being a dad, chess, whatever. When it comes to things like this, a lot of things like this happened in my life. Really crazy freak accidents. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm probably the most athletic dad there at this cheerleading place. And the most athletic dad, just so happened got hurt. And I always, in my life, there was always weird freak accidents that, can't be stopped. So for me, when it comes to injuries, especially something like this, especially something that's going on in your life, sometimes it's a way for, you can say, God, the universe, this great spirit, the great power, it's doing its best to get you to just sit down a little bit. So this is how I dealing with this injury. This injury, being where I am, 36 years old, coaching I haven't made too many videos since starting at UFC Gym. I've been coaching a lot. Business is going good. Everything else is, everything else is steady. Everything is good. And, but in my heart, while I was coaching people, I haven't coached one-on-one in a very long time. I was doing YouTube, TikTok, for a good 3 years. I was by myself, just grinding it out, dieting, training hard, filming, dieting, training hard, filming, taking care of my kids, the Chinese line dance. I wasn't doing any really detailed one-on-one fight training. Even when I was doing the Chinese line dance, it's Chinese line dance. That's something that I learned, something that I jumped into. It wasn't my bread and butter. For many of you who've been around this channel for a while, you guys already know my bread and butter is just with the hands, kickboxing, and fighting. So to really be able to give my all, this is my thing. Fighting, I don't know. I don't want to say fighting is my thing, but that's what I've been doing my entire life. That's why I'm good at Chinese line dance. That's why I'm good at whatever I do, because the principles that I learned from fighting. But because I couldn't move, because I couldn't groove, and me being very into my personal training, my coaching as a kickboxing coach at UFC Gym Milani. I've been learning a lot of things, and there was an evolution going on within me. And with this accident, it kind of forced me to sit down. And obviously, like, if I would have hurt my shoulder or my hand, or maybe like lost some teeth or hurt my back, I still somehow, sometimes I have back pain, I still can work through it, move and groove. Once I get the body warmed up, my spine is able to go. But with the ankle, spraining the ankle, that really like is a sign that I gotta sit down. So for me, anytime, especially this time around, when there's an evolution occurring in my life where I need to, not even need to, it's where I'm leveling up. If I don't pay attention to the signs, because I'm stubborn and I'm kind of like just going with my life and really just zoning in on what I'm doing, things like this happen. And so, of course, my ankle, sprained it. I have no other choice but to do this, but to sit down, think, and contemplate, observe. And I'm gonna tell you that, the first couple of days it was hard. At home I'm very hands-on. I do everything basically around the house, me and my wife. Yes, I have my children. They have very minimal chores because there's a way that I like to do things. The way I like to clean, I like everything to be a certain way. You can almost say I have like OCD, but I just like things to be a certain way. So I'm very hands-on. Now that I'm handicapped, I really got to rely on my children, rely on my wife. Something I don't like doing. I don't like to rely on anyone. I like to do things on my own. I keep to myself and I do what I do. And it's forced me to sit back. It's forced me to sit down, forced me to look within. And for you guys already know, as a martial artist, this is where the spirituality comes in. Pain and suffering and just violence and injuries are a way that I sit down and contemplate on things. And so that's what I've been doing. This is how I deal with injuries, all types of injuries, whether it's my back here and there. I'll have like back pain, but it's easy for me to just work through it. Sometimes, when you're, especially as a kickboxing coach, I'm holding pads. Bro, I'm holding pads like, if I see 8 people in a day, that's a minimum of like 80 rounds of just pads. And like the way I teach my clients, like their techniques come fast, their speed, their power, and like I'm just getting bumped out, bro, and like I'm hurting. On top of that, like I try to spar when I can with some of the guys, and I let them beat me up so they can understand. They have an understanding of what fighting is. And I, as a fighter, as a coach, holding pads, getting hurt, it's easy to work through things, and I can work through pain. But when it's time for me to sit down, when God is trying to get my attention, things like this happen. So that's how I've been dealing with it. The first couple of days, it was hard. It was just really hard. Now in a physical sense, when it comes to dieting, when I'm injured, because I'm always on the go, I'm always moving, dude, very energetic. Black coffee, whatever. I know I can work hard. I know I can move no matter what. No black coffee or not, I'm always just moving, bro. Like I just can't fucking keep still. So when I have injuries, the last time when I got sick, I eat whatever. I don't hold back. My body needs nourishment, and I'll take it anywhere. My body needs to relax, calm down, so I won't starve it. The first 2 days when I had my sprained ankle, I did a fast just to kind of cleanse everything and just to help cleanse kind of just my anger. I was kind of fucking angry, man. Like, shit, what am I gonna do now? I had to really drop back on training people. So I did fast. I ate. The first day I just didn't eat at all. The second day, I had a little piece of steak, maybe like 6 ounces of steak with water and a black coffee, just to really just reset myself. Then after that, just bombing everything. Steak, lots of protein though. I make sure I'm getting lots of protein, lots of eggs, rice, candy. Everything. Just my mind. Now that I'm able to sit, my mind is just going and going and going. So I need more calories to kind of like help stabilize my mind and help my body recover. Because when I sit down, it's kind of known that through science that, even when you're thinking of something, if you're thinking of running, just the thought alone is triggering neurological responses within your body. So at the same time, while you're thinking of running, even though you're just sitting down thinking, your body is burning calories. So while my mind is turning, I'm thinking all these ideas, I'm having all these observations, my leg is injured and it needs nourishment. So I just pack it on, protein, carbs, rice, candy. That way I'm just not burning everything up. My metabolism is kind of fast. I could say like my hormones are good. My testosterone is probably like through the roof. I can feel it. Even though I don't take anything, I just need the extra nourishment. So when it comes time to my diet while I'm injured or when I'm sick, I just, I eat in a way to relax myself. I'm always on the go. I'm always low key, like on edge, man. So it's a time for me to relax. I kind of treat myself like an animal when I'm injured. When I'm injured, if you look at like a lion or like a dog, they really retreat back. They eat and they retreat and they just hide. And that's what I kind of did this time around. Now, if you're going through an injury, everybody is different. Some people will have to stay on a diet. Some people will have to really switch up their diet. One thing I can tell you is that when you have an injury, that is your time to sit back and reflect on what's going on in your life. If there's an evolutionary phase, you got to really look at what your mind's been thinking about, what you've been putting off. And when you get that injury, it's time for you to sit down and really calculate and say, you know what, there's something I've been putting off. I've been just going through the motions. I've been working. I've been doing this. I've been dieting. I've been doing this. But my heart is being called in another way. Now that I have this time to just sit and heal and I can't do nothing because I'm injured, maybe it's time for me to plan and calculate and observe and honor this thing that I'm being called to, that I really want to do. So for me, you guys know I already do a lot of these speaking vids, and as a modern day martial artist, I don't even want to call myself a warrior, because I'm not going to war. I'm not in these olden times. I just take martial arts principles, warriorship principles, and I use them in this modern time to kind of keep my head level and straight, so that way I'm not out here fucking killing anybody. But it's a point where I'm at an age, I'm at a maturity, I'm at a physical level. I have my kids where I gotta just start speaking wisdom on a deeper sense. I have all this wisdom of spirituality, of how to live a better life, and things about evolution. Okay, I'm gonna give you some things right now. Everything evolves, no matter what you do. Fighting will always be around. War, violence, suffering, physicality, diets, food, money, everything that we're going through today will always be around. At the base root of it, every emotion will be here. The thing that will change, and that's always constant, is just change and evolution. If I were to say that today my purpose is this, you got to understand that literally like 10 years ago, speaking to a phone was not possible. I think it was. I'm not sure what iPhone we were on, but the technology back then, 10 years ago, is not even close to what we have now. And evolution. Everything goes through evolution, whether you like it or not, whether you want to be rigid with your principles, rigid with your ways as a man, as a warrior, as a martial artist. Everything will evolve, and there will be a point in time in life where I will no longer need my martial arts cunningness, my mindset as a warrior. I will need certain principles behind it, which I can elaborate in different videos using big words. Violence, whooping ass, taking names, it's not going to be the same. And I'm at the point where I take a lot of my tenacity, my intensity, and I put it towards, I coach t-ball with the kids. I help out kids with my son's t-ball team. I coach youth kickboxing. It ranges from like 4 till like 13. I coach the adult kickboxing class. I have all of my adults that I work privately with. I have like some high school kids that I do privates with. All of my intensity goes through that, and I see that a lot of what they need is a shift in mindset, and to get over these imaginary fears, and to understand that regardless of what they're trying to accomplish as kickboxers, as fighters, as men, as women who are trying to be much more physical, love is at the root of everything. And in order for you to truly reach the highest version of you, you have to understand that you're going to evolve every trauma, every anger, every insecurity, every weakness that you have into some type of love. Even with me, even though, like, you know, like I said, like, fighting is like my bread and butter, man. I stay away from fighting, okay? I don't jump in the ring anymore, because like fighting's been my life, man, and it gets tiring sometimes. And I realize now the evolution that I'm taking, my injury making me sit back and just contemplate on things, this tenacity, the strength that I have has to be put towards some obligations that I have, which is teaching the things that help to heal my life. And sometimes it takes an injury for me to sit down and listen to my intuition and listen to whatever this great spirit is telling me. Some of you guys who follow me may not be on this path, or you're gonna be on my path. If you follow me, you subscribe to this channel, you like the concepts that I speak about, you're on the same path as me. It's just that you're a little further behind me. I don't want to say you're behind me, but there's more experiences that you got to get through. Now, maybe most of you are where you are at now with me, that, you know, you're training, you're dieting, but there's no clarity. You're still angry and you're still trying to get rid of some of these things. There's going to be a point in time where you, as a warrior and a martial artist, you got to just take everything that you know and you got to use it for love. It's a double-edged sword. And you use the physical training to keep this body in shape, to keep this body strong, so that way you can be a better lover, a better provider. I don't want to say a protector, because once you get to a certain point of physicality, of really moving and grooving, bumping motherfuckers out, there's gonna be no need to protect you from anything like that. Like, it's gonna be a point where you're gonna have to let your walls down. You know, like I said, I do T-ball. I meet a lot of parents, you know, like I just have random kids, you know. I help coach. We do have a head coach, really good man. Even with him, he's teaching me a lot. You know, with T-ball, I meet a lot of parents. There's a lot of new kids. I meet a lot of parents, and some of these parents, like, I gotta let my wall down. Some of these guys kind of are like sharp at the lip, and they do kind of have an attitude, not knowing, like, I'm real cool with it. They don't know what I do. They don't know they don't know I have this Instagram, this YouTube. They don't know, like, it's all there, but I got to be cool about it. And like I said, there's nothing for me to protect my family from. As a man who knows that he's proficient at what he does, more so now, I got to understand that people who sometimes have these attitude problems have something going on in their life, and I do have the answers. And a lot of these answers are, you gotta take these frustrations that you have, and you gotta understand that there's something about you that you haven't healed. There's experiences that you're holding yourself back from that you gotta jump into, and there's just things that you gotta pursue that you're not pursuing because you're selfish. And this selfishness is more so because you're afraid of change. You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of what other people are going to think. And you just got to take that leap of faith. And right now, with this injury, this is that leap of faith. I already do these speaking videos. I already speak my mind, but I got to do more of it. This is what I'm just being called to already. Of course, I'm still going to be doing what I do. It's never going to leave me. I was born with it. It's a gift that I have. I'm grateful to God. Oh, and that's another way of how I deal with injuries, okay? So I just eat whatever the fuck I want, because my mind needs to relax. I need to put my body at peace. I rest a lot. I'm not one of those that kind of just... I've still been working. People... my clients, some of them are just like, dude, you need to slow down. You need to rest. And like with how much clients I'm training per day while I was injured, it's a total drop. Like I am resting on my laurels. So it's not too bad. Um, I'm taking a lot more rest. I'm eating more. And the main thing is just being grateful. Fuck, I'm grateful that I sprayed my shit, man. I get time to myself. I get time to think. I get time for my brain to catch up to this urges that I have in my heart. And I get to speak to you, and I get to package up everything in my life, all the wisdom that I'm learning, all the pain and the suffering and the mental negativity that I'm dealing with. I get to transmute it, and I get to give you some answers. So if you get injured, more so it's just understanding that there's something greater than you that's forcing you to sit down to look at something. Look at it, observe it, ask questions, and understand all of these questions will lead you to love. Whether it's, okay, I broke my foot, now I know when I heal, I'm gonna run more, I'm gonna diet better. It's all just pointing you towards love. And don't be afraid of this love. Don't be afraid to give love. Don't be afraid to receive love. Don't be afraid to help someone out. Don't be afraid to speak up. Each one will teach one. And sometimes an injury will happen just for you to take a breather. And that's what this is. This is how I deal with injuries. This is how, I'm not going to say the savage martial artist. This is how Ches Kandari deals with it. He sits, observes, learns, loves, shares. Okay? Hope this brings you some insight. Other than that, just always remember, train hard and be kind. Let's go.